Attention gamers. Previously in Rav's Igloo, I began my documentary series studying a very serious syndrome plaguing the Rift, causing hard-working men and women all over the world to lose their beloved LP. And among many things we learned about this disease, perhaps the most frightening discovery was that it was indeed hereditary, as we as a nation witnessed what happens when extra chromosomes just get drunk darted into a person's head. Then for scientific purposes I showed the easiest way to make 3 people suicidal by locking in these brothers from an alcoholic mother to prove that every good play one of these airheads makes will eventually be overshadowed by the greed that comes with these gales. Needless to say we lost, but today in my second live stream on YouTube, that got demonetized just like the first. In case you were wondering, I have the clash of the cuck lords in the mid lane, so today you will see potentially the worst case of HITTER syndrome I have ever personally dealt with, because when life gives you lemons you make lemonade, and when Riot gives you a 22 death slobbering Yone, you mourn the death of your LP alongside hundreds of thousands of your closest friends. It's also worth noting that this moron's twin, Mr. Hasaki Me Daddy, was shockingly one of their team's biggest threats. But hey, it's 2020, weirder things have happened, like this sponsor collaboration you are about to see. Ladies and gentlemen, we've made it. After a long journey, countless nights with an unwavering commitment to achieving this goal, I can finally say, as a strong independent silhouette with a robot voice, that this video is sponsored by Manscaped. Now it's no secret that your overall physical level of attraction is mostly based off of your rank in League of Legends, but the power of keeping your butts and nuts well groomed and smelling like a rose garden of pheromone-ridden seduction is also a key factor to becoming a permanent resident on the stud list. Which is why I squealed like a pregnant pig when Manscaped hooked me up with the performance package. So let's describe some of these goodies. Introducing the Lawn Mower 3.0. This strong sleek pube murderer is like the Tesla technology of dude pruning, so I wrote a quick poem to illustrate the power of this ultra quiet waterproof skin safe technology. So your pubes are long and thick, this trimmer will do the trick. No more fear of getting a cut or a nick when shaving around your balls or dick. And to aid in your hair homicide efforts in places where the sun don't shine, they roided it up with LEDs that are so damn bright I bought a second one and strapped it to my car as an extra headlight. Just look at these before and after pictures of my ball sack. Then there's the Febreze for D's nuts in the form of ball toner and deodorant to keep those crotch nuggets shapeless, hydrated and hummin'. Pair that with the refined cologne and you will smell like a future postcard sent straight from Pound Town. Boom, enter the weed whacker, the perfect tool to stick straight up your nose. And lastly we have the sexy shears. Men who groom their nails with this kit have been scientifically proven to outperform others in all of these categories. So click my link below and use code RAV20 to get 20% off your order and free shipping. Okay, twist my arm, I'll get them to throw this travel bag that makes you look wealthy and a pair of these testy trousers for free. Your balls will thank you. Now for those of you who took the first step in joining the Nutsack Goodies new club by using my code to purchase grown-ass manly man products, you have earned a Rav respect, and for everyone else I will settle for you abusing the living piss out of the like button. Now let's talk about some morons. Now of course the first death in the game is mid lane, since our Yone is like the best food shelter volunteer in the world, always first in line to personally feed people around him, and sure enough their laning looks like 2 drunk apes sword fighting with paper bags over their heads until our team's moron forgets where his tower is, resulting in him getting lit on fire and leading a game of follow the flashing leader to give up first blood. Bam, straight back to mid 2 minutes later, because this dude's brain is so smooth it should be playing jazz at some club in New York. Unlike all people with HITTER syndrome, he just can't resist the temptation to go dashing through the super fun mist wall to cool him off, as he shows how he may miss everything else but he always hits his own fountain. Meanwhile my horny tail thorny jungler informs me that she's in the mood for something hot, so I say, girl, it's your lucky day cause there's literally a dude on fire down here. So she puts her cooter curse on him, which works like a charm as I tie him up so she can have her way with him. Skillful transition back to mid, and thank God Miss Sleazy Teasy is there to babysit this child as he contributes by showing why his parents always change the subject when their friends ask about him, as you see the thin beam from roaming Rav make its appearance, but it's too late to say feeding Freddy. Then I zoom out, but of course he still has his pussy pillar to hide behind, but it still works out. And hey, surprise, this case study took place in front of a live audience as Tyler1 donated to me and I forced the flash out of the cocaine addict. Then my support says Jana with full mana reporting for duty, and I say I don't care ho, just make this albino tired so I can tiptoe my way over and scream for right in her face. I just love how Yones run like they are trying to cover their eyes with their arm, because it just fits so nicely with them always blindly running straight into danger as Dashuo enters looking more excited than a whore in a dildo factory, because he knows this moron is going to do something stupid like flash while tethered to his own slobbering self before opting to use his own dash to get him right back into danger so he can give up another paycheck. But the one silver lining in this game is that their jungler also has a lower IQ than a pack of hot dogs, and so he's out here lurking trying to throw a banger, but there's a pandemic going on, so Janna requests he stay 6 feet away and I get rainbow sucked for a few seconds as my support, and I dance with death like we have a crush on it until I can finally root scoot the shitbag of hay and send him back to base. There's a famous saying that nothing is certain in this world except death and taxes, and the same is true about having a windshitter on your team, as he visits my lane for no other purpose other than to tax me, and as if he hasn't already proven that death was a certainty as well. Say hello to a 600-pound smiling death rocket. And then we are back yet again with the whole cover my eyes to hide the reality that I am about to run straight into a bad decision, and hey, big surprise, we have out dumb shitted ourselves. But I guess stupidity is contagious, as his presence alone has prompted my other coworkers to overextend and group up nicely right in front of the arsonist burn victim so that they can play a game of hot potato, and somehow all manage to lose by the time I can even get there, causing me to immediately get cold feet about the ult I just bought so I don't end up like them. Then my team has their PETA hats on, trying to prevent that poor dragon from getting abused like a ginger stepchild, so I come in to start counting, but just like Ratchet Pussy there, Yasuo can't say no to writing a dangerous ult into 4 of us, so I slurp on the green piss leaking out of my support's anus to survive long enough for him to wear himself out. Meanwhile, Yone Brains Balone is straight going flanky franky, ready to birth himself out of his own stupidity to land an admittedly nice ult before dying in his own dumb spawn, but it works out because my team comes in to clean up his scraps and I zoom out for a quick 2-bop into 1 flop, then enter Jinx like a startled deer running straight into oncoming traffic to eat my 4th. But that creepy clown runs back in and tells me to look the other way, but I'm not his bitch, so that sad bag of hay gets to listen to me count. Back to the worst of the windshitters as he casually burns all his cooldowns to bully 2 hooded midget employees, which is fine unless their mid-lane fed meat stick is in the area, giving him no choice other than to flash into chicken coup, but he wakes them up, to which I am thinking maybe he just needed to lifesteal, but of course he gets too distracted thinking about those little yellow numbers that will pop up, so he overstays and dies. Now I have to give it to this fiddle, even his fake scarecrows are as dumb as he is, as the one I wake up runs straight to where he is actually hiding, which ruins his clearly well planned surprise, so no fear, just fountain for that dumbass. And then this Jar Jar Binks looking hoe is just Jay chillin' like an about to be dead villain, so we come down and I tiptoe around the line of hungry hippos she deploys so that I can keep this pepper patty cake game going, but thanks to my jungler BMing and my inability to do good damage, she makes it an even trade. But right after I did my usual patrol around all the bushes that I could have put my ward into, I run into the pisshead with the pinwheel as he charges up his Keemstar rune, and I just know he is going to try and stick a bunch of balloon animals up my ass, so I stay calm, snap out of the scary story he tells me before rooting him and then scooting him back to the shops as Hoppy Zelda comes in to tell me she couldn't find any of my wards in the bush. A minute later our mid laner has entered the dimension of dumb shits again and decides he isn't ready to leave until he loses at least half of his health, to which he ports back and then without hesitation immediately continues charging straight back into the fire that just burnt him, only to find himself once again forced to rock the flea like Joe Biden at a presidential debate until he gets birthday partied to death. Then back mid and this dude has procced the swirls of stupidity, so you already know what's coming. Bam dives into 3 of them just so he can say he landed a nice ult as he heads home early, and I launch the long boy simulator to deliver a few biggies down the bowling alley before joining my team and watching the sex ant flaunt her cute little ass out in front. Riven finally bites at the titty show girl, so I run over, wave goodbye to the random Jinx ult, and then I ask this chick how it felt to be masturbated. Everybody gets a bit of jungle fever and the dumb shits on each team unsurprisingly die right away. First Fiddle and then this abomination of a performance out of Cucky Nuts, but after we all endure that nonsense I give this wall of trees the reach around and then I hit them with the triangle of terror and start counting. I trip up a bit on 2 and 3, but I bring us home strong by sending Jinx home dead, and then I immediately group back up with my team because the whole horde is chasing the one with sword and they desperately needed my missed W to kill her off. A few minutes later you can see the scarecrow's dead shit on the ground, which means the boys get an uncontested drag, and then of course if this Yone had one intelligent thought it would die of loneliness as he eagerly dashes in to let his brother slice him up like a banana, but luckily they both grew up downwind from a stupidity factory as the asshole immediately comes flying in with the douche dash into donation rendition, aka the staple of windshitters, and then Jinx dies too because that's what ADCs do in season 11 as the rest of them piss off to die another day. Then me and Jin collabed on this poem to describe the next few minutes of the game.
1.
For the Riven who tried to run.
2.
For the dumb shit jungler you always get in solo queue. Back to
1.
For the windshitter who ruins the fun. Then
2,
for the burn victim whose damage is too true, and
3,
for the masochist playing ADC. And finally
4.
for the whore, who couldn't hop anymore. And then I returned this dumb fiddle, back to the uselessness store. Yeah Rav, you are cringe eat my ass comments coming after that, I know, but at least I am not ulting myself to death repetitively. But this fight still turned out in our favor as the Scarecrow did absolutely nothing useful yet again, and then I joined up with the team and booted up my dance bitches simulation, and unfortunately Flaming Freddy a dead bitch now as I used my last one to send the Butch Cut Blade Muncher running. But I mean, at a certain point you gotta watch this guy and say to yourself, geez Louise, if only this dude's mom just would have taken it up the ass instead, that night we all would have been spared from this. Like, this had to have set a record for the most times a Yone has died within his own bloody sperm spawn because he refused to reactivate E again like a sped moron within a single game ever. And unfortunately, when a single player on your team has been put in fountain timeout 22 freaking times, you can bet your sweet bippy that the other team has put the sugar daddying of free cash to good use with some swanky items good enough to invert our A9 on repeat until we eventually lost. Lastly, I just want to say that despite this dude soft-inting my game, he was kind and seemingly trying to turn his performance around in chat all game, so I really can't hate when you simply cannot control the side effects of Yone syndrome. I would rather have a certified suck-ass on my team who is kind than the 99% of toxic Tommy spam pinging my runes every damn game. You also may have noticed this game took place on stream, so huge shout out to the meaty thick donation Pablo threw at me at the end, and shout out to all my new YouTube members as well as the ongoing support from my Patreons. You all are the realest. Pet your dog, jerk your ween, pray for those with Winchester syndrome, and brush your teeth tonight. Rav out.